I come from northern Nigeria, Kaduna State, precisely.
Okay.
That's the heart of the north. It's known as the heart of northern Nigeria.
The heart of northern Nigeria. Okay. Is there a difference between northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria in terms of culture and the way people, maybe is northern Nigeria quite sort of collectivist with family structures and southern Nigeria more individualist, something like that, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, there's a huge difference. We're two totally different people. Southerners are distinctively different from northerners. In fact, it's as the difference is manifest sometimes even in the skin texture. The southerners have more moisturized skin than the northerners. Really? The northerners have a lot of dry skin because of the weather.
Really?
So,
is that because of the climate, or is that ethnicity, or what is that?
It's because of the climate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. But you say that these two sort of groups of Nigerians, the split, the north-south divide, we call it in England, they're different sorts of people, different cultures. Is the centralized government the same? So the government treats both the north and the south in the same way?
Yes, the policies are the same, but implementing the policies are different. Okay. For instance, in the north, you find nomadic education. There's a board for nomadic education, while that is missing in the south. And in the north, there's a lot of advocacy around sending the girl child to school, while in the south is sending the boy child to school. So that difference exists.
And do you get a lot of girls going to school in the south?
Yeah, there are a lot of girls going to school. And a lot of girls, more than the north.
Right, yeah, okay. Now, you talk about dyslexia, and you run a school, I suppose, or is it could you talk about the institution you run? I think that's a better word for it.
Okay, so Amina Dyslexia Centre is a dyslexia center in Kaduna, Nigeria. What we do is we cater for the educational needs of dyslexics. Initially, we started with working with just dyslexics, but then there's a huge need for people who have dyspraxia, dysgraphia, autism, and we realized that yes, we can work with them as well. So we are expanding into the other neurodiversity constellations, especially autism and then the dyspraxia, dyslexia, dysgraphia constellation.
Is there a big difference between the techniques you use for dyslexia and the techniques you use for dyspraxia and the techniques you use for dysgraphia and dyscalculia? So this dys family, is there a difference in how you deal with them, or are they more or less the same?
They are more or less the same, but the difference is in the individuality of our clients. People are distinctively different. Individuals are individuals. Yeah. So what we do is we design the educational plan based on the individuality of the people who come to us, our children, our students. Yeah.
And how does that differ from mainstream education in Nigeria?
Okay, mainstream education is you have to go to school from 7 a.m. to at least 2 p.m. But what we do here is we allow you to come when you have, at your own scheduled time. Okay. You could choose morning sessions, you could choose afternoon sessions, you could choose evening sessions. Because we realize people have different times when they are more active with learning. You know, so we just design those systems based on the fact that people are different. So that's what we do. And then the educational plans that we have are not just tailor-made based on the timing and the learning style of the individual. They're also based on careers. Say, for instance, we have someone who wants to be a chef when she grows up. So we're working towards that. We have a focus. She knows that she wants to become a chef. So we are grooming her towards that. Though we can touch on other things that will help her to become a rounded up citizen, but we're focusing on she achieving that career of becoming a chef. We also have someone else who wants to become a lawyer, and then we're also working towards that with the child. So these are the differences with mainstream education. Meanwhile, in mainstream schools, you just go and sit down, learn everything together with all your classmates. You need it, you don't need it, you have to learn it. So that's the difference.
And you focus on people's goals and their strengths rather than the processes of what an education curriculum tells you. Can I ask, and this might be a very general question, but what is dyslexia, please?
Okay. Dyslexia is a neuro difference. For me, it's a neuro difference. The difference in a way person sees life generally. And it also affects the way the person learns. It also affects the way the person relates to other people. So for me, it's a neuro difference.
That sounds very much like my dyslexia. So to me, that doesn't sound like a bad thing at all. What are parental attitudes towards dyslexia in Nigeria? Do parents accept dyslexia easily in Nigeria?
So this is where I have a problem. Parents are very skeptical about accepting dyslexia. So before we even go there, I would want us to step back. A lot of people don't know that there is something called dyslexia. Each time I speak about dyslexia, I get this, Anita, are you sure you did not make up that word? We've never heard of it. So first of all, people are oblivious of the existence of dyslexia. And then when I walk them through the symptoms and its manifestations, and they begin to realize, oh, my child could be dyslexic. She is describing my child. Ms. Anita is talking about my child. And all of this realization dawns on them. What the next reaction that anybody would expect is, so how do we help? But the reaction that I often get is, can we keep this quiet? I know that my child could have this problem, but can we keep it quiet? Because everybody wants to think that their child is very intelligent. Yes, intelligent in code, because knowing that the child has a neuro difference makes people think the child is not intelligent. So people would not readily accept it. A lot of people are skeptical. And then there's the, oh, he's just a child, he will outgrow it. When they grow older, they will outgrow it. There's also that. But then a lot of people are living in denial about dyslexia, even when they realize that, yes, it is a condition. Yes, other people in the world have it. Yes, it can be helped. They just don't want to come up to say, my child could be dyslexic, I am dyslexic, or anybody I know is dyslexic, because they think it is a manifestation of stupidity, of lack of intelligence.
Yeah, and if you measure intelligence by the school curriculum, and everybody has to take this school curriculum, it appears that it's a lack of intelligence. What about the dyslexic children you deal with? Do the dyslexic children feel ashamed of their dyslexia?
Okay, most of them, the age we deal with now, only one is old enough to realize she could feel shame or not. But most of the ones that I have now are at that age where they are discovering themselves. So they are not yet taking into cognizance what society calls, what society determines as shameful or not. So, but she, the older one that we're working with, is really reserved about her condition. She does not come out readily to ask for help. You know, you really need to ask for help if you're dyslexic. You have to often ask for help. So it's not easy for her asking for help all the time. But I wouldn't blame that on her, because she has lived a lot of her life knowing people telling her that you can't do it, you can't do this, you're not smart enough to do this. So even when she has something to say, she keeps it to herself. So you have to prompt her all the time. Yeah. And that is making her, it's pushing her into being an introvert. She's not an introvert.
Is there a difference in Nigeria between how accepting of dyslexia parents and children are in the South and how accepting of dyslexia they are in the North?
Yes, based on the difference with the people. The Northerners are more timid, right, but the Southerners are more exposed, so to say.
Yeah. More
so the Northerners would not easily accept that it is their children have this difference. Meanwhile, the Southerners don't really care who laughs at their children or not, as long as the child gets help.
Right.
In fact, the Southerners would readily come to you. So I have more of the Southerners asking for our services than the North, even though we are located in the northern part of the country.
Yes. Yeah. They're more pragmatic, I guess.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is there a difficulty with language? How many languages do people speak in Nigeria?
Oh, there are a lot of languages.
Oh, right.
We have 250 distinctively different languages, not counting the ethnic groups. We are not yet counting the ethnic groups, so there are a lot of them.
When you're at home, which language do people speak? Not you specifically, but what languages do people speak at home? Do they speak English at home, or do they speak Yoruba at home, or one of the local languages? And then they have to speak English at school. How does this work? Okay,
yeah, that's basically what a lot of people do. You speak English at school,
right?
And then you speak, if you are a Southerner, Southwest, you speak Yoruba. If you are a Northerner, you speak Hausa at home. But then the Southeasterners and South, that's where the thing is. There are a lot of them, so they don't have a common language like the people in the Southwest and the people in the North. You know, the common language in the North is Hausa, the common language in the Southwest is Yoruba.
Yeah.
So the Southeasterners don't have that privilege. And then the people in the South too, they don't have that privilege. So you just speak English at home, and then you speak Pidgin English at home.
Right.
And then you speak English in school.
Yeah. And the reason I ask is that it seems that if you're speaking one language at home, and then you go to school and you have to read and write in English, that's going to cause problems. Or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. It does cause problems. So sometimes it is not dyslexia that is the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is the language mix-up. That's where the problem is. So I give you a scenario here. A child who is born and raised by a Hausa family could have a maid who is from the Southwest. That's an example. So the maid in the house speaks Yoruba and English. Possibly she speaks Hausa, possibly. But then mommy and daddy speak Hausa and English. So sometimes the maid will play with the child and she would want to speak Yoruba to the child. Yeah. So you see the child has 3 languages to grapple with. English at school, mommy and daddy speak Hausa too. Then the maid could speak Yoruba, or maybe the maid could speak another language around, maybe another language like Bagi or Baju or any other one. So
and are Yoruba and Hausa, are these written languages or spoken languages?
They are both spoken and written.
They're both spoken and written. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And are they phonologically easy?
They are not phonologically easy.
Right.
The phonology, though, is based on the English alphabet.
Okay.
So that's what makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. In the Amina Dyslexia Centre that you run, how long do children stay with you? I mean, are they there for a sort of a remedial course? Are they there for specific intervention, or are they with you for the whole of their childhood?
No, it's just a remedial intervention center.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do, we take the child and then we teach them the basics of the English language.
Yeah.
That's the phonics of the English language.
Yeah.
How to read it, how to write it, how to spell it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also train them on learning how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
We equip them with the skills that helps them to learn independently, to also know that, yes, I have a condition that does not allow me to learn the way other people learn. So these are the things that I could do for myself. And then we don't also have the backing of government. We don't have government policies backing us like the Americans and the Britons have.
Yeah.
So we have to train the children to learn how to stand alone. And this takes us about, depending on the age. For teenagers, we work with them for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then for those who are younger than that, we work with them for about 2 years to say, yes, the child can stand on their own.
And forgive me for asking this. I don't mean to ask an insensitive question, but is it expensive for a child, for a parent to send their child to the centre, or is it affordable?
I had tried to make it affordable.
Yeah, of course.
Because
of course, yeah.
Basically the only person doing this in Kaduna. So I looked at it and I realized that the world over, dyslexia remediation is very expensive.
It is
so
in
I was
Britain
speaking,
as well, yeah.
So I was speaking with a friend of mine who happens to be a Nigerian but a citizen of the UK. And then he was like, it's really, really expensive.
Yeah.
Then I said, why should we make it expensive? People need it.
Yeah.
So I tried now to crash down the prices. And then we have made it as affordable as $4 for a session.
Wow.
For a monthly session.
$4 for a monthly session.
Yes.
Wow. That is actually, that's pretty affordable. If you came to Britain, the interventions and the help you get is incredibly expensive a lot of the time. There is stuff out there that
on the internet.
Yeah. You say that
then there's no point making it expensive because first of all, people don't even know that something called dyslexia exists. Yeah. A lot of them just call me because they know that I normally work with slow learners. They would call and say, Ms. Anita, my child has a problem. I think you should see my child. And then after we do an assessment, we will realize that, yes, that's a problem. And then we go on to work. So a lot of people are recommending us based on the fact that, not because they have accepted that their children are dyslexic, but they are saying, oh, just walk to Ms. Anita, she can tell you what is wrong, why your child is finding it difficult at school. Something will be done. Just talk to Ms. Anita, something will come out of it.
Yeah. Now, this is quite interesting. You mentioned that you deal with dyslexic children, dysgraphic children, dyspraxic children. You also say you deal with autistic children. How do you arrange the space to fit both dyslexic and autistic children? Is it difficult or is it hard? What sort of arrangements can you make that are good for both sets of children?
Okay, they don't come all at once together. Okay. We have an hourly session for each person. So far we have the number of children we have allows us to have an hourly session, one-on-one hourly session with each child that comes around. So that gives us a lot of time and then a lot of attention for one person at a time. Yeah. And we hope that with the coming year, 2021, we will have a bigger space and then we'll be able to employ about 2 more teachers so that we can keep up with the one-on-one session.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there many dyslexia associations in Nigeria?
Okay. So far, I was able to find not association, basically, dyslexia remediation centers more.
Right.
So recently, some people I know who also work in the special education space are trying to start a Nigeria Dyslexia Association.
Okay.
But so far, they're the only ones that I know trying to start an association like that. It's not yet. It does not have feet and arms and legs yet, but it's in the pipeline.
Yeah. It's got the heart and maybe the brain, but no limbs. Yeah. How long has your association been going? How long has the Amina Dyslexia Centre been going?
Okay, we're going to be 2 years old tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Tomorrow is going to be our second birthday. So we started on 15th of November, 2015.
Okay. So, right. If your Amina Dyslexia Centre could have a birthday present, what's the one thing you wish that the government or Nigerian society or schooling in Nigeria could do to help dyslexic children that they are not yet doing?
Let's have a dyslexia commission, something like that, in the Ministry of Education, somewhere that takes care of people who have learning difference. It should just be part of the Ministry of Education, because the Ministry of Education is the education umbrella. So let's have a commission that takes care of people who have learning difference. People who have disabilities like hearing impairment and visual impairment have something that takes care of them. I think it's an association that takes care of them. It would be nice to have a commission that takes care of people who have learning differences, because from there we can now start asking for policies, and we can now start asking for accommodations that are entrenched in the Nigerian law. Yes, and then awareness will reach further, and people will now come to realize, yes, there's a problem.